The Rosicrucian Order is a mystical and esoteric organization that claims to possess secret wisdom handed down from ancient times. The order is named after its alleged founder, Christian Rosicrucians, and is often associated with the symbol of the Rosy Cross, a cross with a rose at its center. Whether Christian Rosicrucians actually existed or not is a subject of ongoing debate. According to legend, Rosicrucians traveled through the Middle East and North Africa, where he acquired secret knowledge and wisdom that were later synthesized into the teachings of the Rosicrucian Order. But who are the real Rosicrucians? What are their secret teachings that help them achieve immortality? And how has this secret brotherhood transformed the course of human thought and spirituality over the centuries? We'll find out in this new episode of Secret Origins. Welcome. Over the course of history, various mystery schools have emerged with the mission of guiding humanity through spiritual evolution, transitioning us from one astrological epoch to the next. As Manly P. Hall put it, these mystery schools reignite the flame of wisdom, driving humanity towards further advancement. And one notable example of such mystical schools is what we now know as the Rosicrucian Order. The origins of the Rosicrucian Order are shrouded in mystery and legend, making it difficult to separate fact from fiction. However, it is generally agreed that the order came to public attention with the publication of 3 manifestos in the early 17th century: Fama Fraternitatis Rosicrucis, Confessio Fraternitatis, and The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosicrucians. These texts announced the existence of a secret brotherhood of alchemists and sages who were preparing to transform the arts, sciences, religion, and political landscape of Europe. Paracelsus, who was a Swiss physician, alchemist, and philosopher of the German Renaissance, and most probably a Rosicrucian, characterized these mystical sages as individuals who had achieved a divine state and remained in it without dying, their whereabouts unknown yet still present on Earth. Modern Rosicrucian groups propose that the order has been around since the Renaissance, influencing not only esoteric traditions, but also making its mark in literature, culture, ethics, politics, religion, and science through various figures, some of whom were also Freemasons. Prominent occult thinkers of the 17th century, such as Michael Mayer, Robert Fludd, and Thomas Vaughan, were deeply drawn to the Rosicrucian Brotherhood. In his 1617 work, Silentium Post Clamores, Michael Mayer vividly describes the essence of Rosicrucianism, saying, "Our roots reach back to the Egyptian and Brahminic civilizations, intertwining with the profound mysteries of Eleusis and Samothrace. We draw inspiration from the Persian Magi, the intellectual pursuits of the Pythagoreans, and the enlightened thoughts of the Arabs." Modern organizations claiming Rosicrucian lineage often cite this passage to emphasize their ancient roots. While there's no definitive proof, the idea that the Rosicrucian Order has its origins in ancient mystery traditions dating back to Egypt around 1500 BCE can't be denied. The rituals, principles, and symbolism employed by Rosicrucians certainly seem to keep these early mystical teachings. In the late 1700s, German Christian mystic Karl von Eckartshausen described the true followers of the Rose Cross as these sages, whose number is small, are children of light and are opposed to darkness. They dislike mystification and secrecy. They are open and frank, have nothing to do with secret societies and with external ceremonies. They possess a spiritual temple in which God is presiding. We know that throughout medieval Europe, esoteric wisdom was often veiled in symbolic language, hidden in troubadour ballads, concealed in alchemical texts, encrypted in Kabbalistic system, or enshrined in the rites of chivalric orders. Following that, in the early 20th century, Max Heindel, a Rosicrucian initiate, said that tracking the roots of the Rosicrucian Brotherhood is challenging because their primary mission has always been to foster human evolution. and they've been doing this work under various disguises throughout history. Today, there are several organizations that claim to represent the Rosicrucian tradition, and most well-known of which are the ancient and mystical order Rosicrucis, Amorc, and the Confraternity of the Rose Cross, CR+C. Each holds their own interpretation of Rosicrucian philosophy, and they all claim to offer paths to deeper spiritual understanding. But now, let's go back in time and try to find out the origins of the initial Rosicrucian brotherhood. What we know is that the Rosicrucian Order first appeared in the 1600s when the 3 mysterious manifestos were published in Europe. These manifestos were completely anonymous, although they referred to a figure named Christian Rosicrucian. This man, sometimes referred to as the Father Brother CRC, allegedly founded the Rosicrucian Order in 1407 after studying various teachings in the Middle East. The first manifesto was the Fama Fraternitatis RC, and it included 6 articles that Rosicrucians should follow. They should heal the sick. They should blend in with the customs of local people. They should meet once a year at the house of the Holy Spirit. Every Rosicrucian must find an heir to take his place within the order. All Rosicrucians are identifiable by the letter CR. The fraternity should remain secret for 100 years. The second manifesto was the Confessio Fraternitatis. This manifesto was a declaration of the Rosicrucians' mission to transform the political and intellectual landscape of Europe. The Rosicrucians refer to this as the Reformation of mankind. The third and final manifesto was released in 1617 and was entitled Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosicrucian Anno 1459. It tells the story of how Rosicrucian encountered a number of symbolic characters and undergoes trials before he was able to enter a castle of miracles. The text is highly symbolic and figurative, and most of the symbolism serves as metaphorical representations of the inner transformational journey. The experiences of Rosicrucians are emblematic of the initiate's path to spiritual enlightenment and the transcending of dualistic consciousness. Do we know who the original Rosicrucians were? Well, some say that Rosicrucian was a real man descended from a Germanic royal family, while others claim that he's a purely symbolic figure. Some also claim that the Rosicrucian Order was formed by members of the Knights Templar. Some claim that many prominent names such as Leonardo da Vinci, Cornelius Agrippa, Paracelsus, Francis Bacon, René Descartes, and Isaac Newton have been part of the order or have contributed to the Rosicrucian knowledge. Still, the question of who founded the Rosicrucian Order is unclear. While Christian Rosicrucian is traditionally named as the founder, he's probably more of a symbolic figure than a historical person, and the Rosicrucian manifestos are suspected to be the work of a group rather than a single individual. 2 prominent names that are often described as possible authors are Johannes Valentinus André and Sir Francis Bacon. André, a German theologian and writer of the late Renaissance, stands out as a particularly likely candidate. His themes in other writings align closely with those in the Rosicrucian manifestos, both focusing on spiritual enlightenment and societal reform. Intriguingly, André later referred to the Rosicrucian Fama and Confessio as a ludibrium, or jest, which has led some to speculate that he wrote these texts as intellectual exercises. Given the risky climate of religious persecution at the time, and remember, some view Rosicrucians as spiritual descendants of the persecuted Knights Templar, it's possible André downplayed or masked his involvement to protect his clerical career. The speculation around the authorship of the Rosicrucian manifestos also extends to Sir Francis Bacon, the English philosopher and advocate of the scientific method. Bacon's vision of an enlightened society parallels the Rosicrucian principles, most notably in his utopian work, The New Atlantis. Both Bacon's writings and the Rosicrucian texts share thematic and symbolic overlaps, such as the pursuit of knowledge, the harmonization of science and religion, and the transformative power of wisdom. The job of the artist is always to deepen the mystery. In order for the light to shine so brightly, the darkness must be present. Francis Bacon. While Johannes Valentinus André and Bacon present compelling cases as potential authors, the truth remains a mystery. Some theories even link the Rosicrucians to the Invisible College, considered the predecessor to the Royal Society of London. Like the Rosicrucians, the Invisible College was conceived as a group of enlightened individuals working secretly to better society. The Invisible College later evolved into the Royal Society, a gathering of scientists that included Robert Boyle and Isaac Newton. Boyle once stated, "The cornerstones of the invisible, or as they termed themselves, the Philosophical College, do now and then honor me with their company." Newton, a member of the Royal Society, was also deeply interested in alchemy and Hermeticism, topics central to the Rosicrucian belief. Did the Rosicrucians inspire other secret societies? Even though no one was able to locate the original members of the Rosicrucian Order back in the 1600s, that didn't stop them from starting their own secret societies. A number of Masonic lodges were apparently heavily inspired by the Rosicrucians. In the early 1700s, Samuel Richter founded the Gold- und Rosenkreuzer, otherwise known in English as the Golden and Rosy Cross. Toward the end of the 18th century, two Rosicrucian-inspired Masonic rites emerged. The rectified Scottish Rite, widespread in Central Europe, where there was a strong presence of the Golden and Rosy Cross, and the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, first practiced in France, in which the 18th degree is called Knight of the Rose Cross. What about the identity of Christian Rosenkreutz? Was he a real person? Or was his name more like an archetypal figure? According to the story told in the manifestos, Christian Rosenkreutz was the last descendant of the Germelshausen, a German family which flourished in the 13th century. Their castle stood in the Thuringian forest on the border of Hesse, and they had embraced Albigensian or Cathar doctrines, combining Gnostic and Christian beliefs. The whole family was put to death by Conrad von Marburg, except for the youngest son, who was only 5 years old. He was carried away secretly by a monk who was an Albigensian adept from Languedoc. The young Rosenkreutz was taken to a monastery influenced by Albigensian teachings, where he met the 4 other individuals who would later join him in founding the Rosicrucian Brotherhood. According to legend, it was here that he prepared for a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. His travels took him first to Damascus, then to Egypt, and eventually to Damcar, where he was initiated into the alchemist's great work. His journey led him to Fez in Morocco, an intellectual hub, home to the University of Al-Qarawiyyin, considered the oldest continuously operating university in the world. In Fez, Rosenkreutz is said to have studied under various sages, perhaps Sufis or Zoroastrians, deepening his understanding of the universe and making contact with elemental beings. Manly P. Hall notes that Rosenkreutz learned from Arab scholars about these elemental creatures and the ethereal realm they inhabit. He also studied astrology, talismanic magic, and other arcane arts far removed from everyday society. Armed with these vast skills, including herbology, alchemy, and even the secrets of eternal life, Rosenkreutz returned to Europe. He established a house of wisdom known as Domus Sancti Spiritus, shrouded in metaphorical clouds to conceal it from the public eye. These clouds symbolize the rituals and symbols that hide deeper truths, the great unspeakable mysteries sought after by serious seekers. Over time, Rosenkreutz assembled 8 like-minded individuals. Each would journey to different parts of the world, learning from various cultures and traditions. They would then return annually to the House of the Holy Spirit to share their newly acquired wisdom and insights. According to the manifestos, when Rosenkreutz passed away at the venerable age of 106, he was buried in a unique seven-sided chamber within the house of the Holy Spirit. This vault was not just a tomb, but a sanctuary of mystical symbols and allegorical art. At its heart lay an altar, upon which rested Rosicrucius' preserved remains. The discovery of this hidden chamber came 120 years after his death, as described in the Fama Fraternitatis. The vault was illuminated not by natural light, but by a crafted sun, casting its glow on the Book M, a repository of Rosicrucius' immense wisdom and knowledge. Uncovering the vault was considered a signal for the Rosicrucian Order to emerge from the shadows, making a new phase of spreading its teachings to a wider world. The symbolism and allegorical elements found within the chamber represented the accumulation of esoteric wisdom by Rosicrucius and his inner circle. Notably, figures like Rudolf Steiner, Max Heindel, and Guy Ballard claimed that Rosicrucius was later reincarnated as the Count of Saint-Germain, a mysterious figure who was also a courtier, an adventurer, and an alchemist, said to have died on February 27, 1784. Here, it's important to recognize that this narrative is rooted in the Rosicrucian manifestos and is often interpreted symbolically, in line with the allegorical style common to Hermetic and alchemical texts of the time. For example, the opening of Rosicrucius' tomb is thought to be a way of referring to the cycles in nature and to cosmic events, and as well to the opening of new possibilities for mankind, consequent on the advances of the 16th and early 17th centuries. What are the beliefs and teachings of the Rosicrucian Order? The Rosicrucian Order focuses on spiritual wisdom, mystical Christianity, Kabbalah, and other forms of esoteric knowledge. The teachings of the Rosicrucians are fundamental. Think of them as road signs on your spiritual journey, helping you understand yourself better and wake up to the presence of something greater, to the reality of the divine. The purpose of the order is often described as the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment and wisdom and the betterment of humanity. One of its foundational principles is the belief in alchemy, not merely as a process for transmuting base metals into gold, but as a metaphor for the spiritual transformation that each individual can undergo. This notion of transformation coincides with their interest in mystical Christianity. Though not exclusively a Christian organization, Rosicrucians often revere Christ as a high spiritual being who offers guidance on the path to enlightenment. However, if you wonder whether the Rosicrucian Order is a religious organization, well, the order generally considers itself a spiritual rather than a religious organization. And while it incorporates elements of mystical Christianity and other religious traditions, it does not require members to belong to any specific religion. Central to the teachings of the Rosicrucian Order is the concept of a universal spirit, a divine essence believed to be present in all religious and spiritual paths. This universalism extends to the concept of the divine word or logos. In Rosicrucian belief, this divine word is not just a concept, but a fundamental aspect of existence itself. It suggests that everything that exists has originated from this divine word, and therefore it shares a primal connection with it. The word is often associated with thought and is seen as being with God in the primal state of existence, emphasizing the potent creative power of the divine word, which is responsible for the myriad forms and expressions that make up our universe. Some members of the order also explore Eastern philosophies, incorporating beliefs in karma and the cycle of reincarnation as part of the soul's journey towards spiritual evolution. Another cornerstone teaching of the Rosicrucian Order is the concept of unity in diversity. This principle asserts that although our world is incredibly diverse and complex, it is all a manifestation of a single underlying reality, principle, or divine being. When we see a multitude of forms, colors, and experiences, these are all expressions of a unified essence, oneness. This foundational idea informs the Rosicrucian approach to life, illuminating the interconnectedness and sacredness of all things. Furthermore, Rosicrucianism values the act of service and the notion of contributing to the collective good. This is because when you recognize the underlying unity in all things, it naturally follows that you would want to serve and uplift the whole. In this context, Rosicrucians view themselves as conscious co-creators in the intricate tapestry of existence, each with a unique but interconnected role. Rosicrucians place significant emphasis on corpus hermeticum and the hermetic principles like as above, so below, viewing the cosmos as an interconnected whole. The corpus hermeticum is a collection of texts centered on philosophical, theological, and esoteric themes. These texts are attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a mythical figure considered to be a fusion of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. Hermes Trismegistus is portrayed as a wise teacher imparting divine wisdom, much of it in the form of dialogues with his disciple Asclepius. The texts date back to the 2nd and 3rd centuries AD and were compiled during the Renaissance, although they likely have older origins. Hermeticism, the spiritual and philosophical tradition derived from the corpus hermeticum, explores topics such as the nature of God, the cosmos, humanity, and divine wisdom. The Hermetic tradition also touches upon practices related to alchemy, astrology, and theurgy, ritual practices aimed at invoking the divine. One of the most important beliefs is the interconnectedness of all levels of reality. The idea is that understanding one level of reality, being material, emotional, or spiritual, can provide insights into other levels. This notion has had a significant influence on various esoteric traditions, including Kabbalah, Gnosticism, and Renaissance Neoplatonism. The order also believes in the power of inner wisdom or the inner light, accessible through spiritual practices like meditation and contemplation. This ties into their larger belief in cosmic consciousness, a higher state of awareness that transcends the ego and offers a connection to the divine. All of these teachings are designed to foster a sense of spiritual brotherhood among members, reinforcing the idea that a universal brotherhood is at work behind the scenes for the betterment of humanity. The Rosicrucian journey is not linear, but rather a spiral, emblematic of life's inherent cycles. This path is filled with ups and downs, gains and losses, but the goal remains constant: growth and evolution. It's a dynamic balance of learning and unlearning, progress and setbacks, and is often described as a dance between light and shadow, form and the formless. The Rosicrucian teachings are often shrouded in secrecy, confined to a system of initiation that guides members from basic principles to advanced esoteric concepts. Rituals, symbols, and texts serve as vehicles to impart this wisdom, each specifically created to assist the seeker on their quest for spiritual enlightenment. Speaking of initiation, the question that naturally occurs is, how does one become a member of the Rosicrucian Order? And in fact, can anyone be a Rosicrucian? Joining the Rosicrucian Order isn't a mere decision or something done for personal gain. It's a deep spiritual commitment that calls for a certain level of inner growth. But what does it really mean to be initiated? Inner growth, or spiritual unfoldment, is about the soul's journey toward becoming wiser, more loving, and more aware. The Rosicrucian Order, like other spiritual schools, knows that everyone is at different stages of this journey. Each person has their own unique path and grows at their own speed. That's why the Order only accepts people who are ready to really get what they're teaching. This doesn't mean the Order's teachings are just for an exclusive group. They actually say that everyone has the ability to grow spiritually, but they also stress that their deeper teachings can only really be grasped by someone who's prepared on a spiritual level. So how do you get ready to join? Getting ready isn't about learning a bunch of facts or doing certain actions. The real goal is personal change. This involves developing good qualities like wisdom, kindness, and modesty. It's also about becoming more aware and learning to understand and work with spiritual concepts. You're considered ready for the Rosicrucian Order when you're willing to dig deep into life's big questions and can handle the responsibilities that come with that understanding. At the core of the Order, there are 12 masters led by a 13th who remains unseen. This setup isn't random. It reflects a universal pattern seen in various parts of the cosmos, where there's a central figure surrounded by many, showing the idea of one core element and multiple outer elements, some seen and some unseen. This pattern is also the backbone of the Rosicrucian Order. It's not just about numbers or shapes, it's about how different elements interact and balance each other. It's about many different things coming together to form one, and that one thing showing itself in many ways. Within the Rosicrucian Order, this universal idea comes to life. The 12 masters, each with their own roles, come together under the guidance of the hidden 13th member. Together, they act like a small-scale version of the universe. Through their collective efforts, they channel spiritual energy that helps humanity grow and evolve. The structure of the Rosicrucian Order is more like a living system than a strict hierarchy. Members, both seen and unseen, are constantly doing spiritual work for the Order and the greater world. This setup mirrors cosmic laws and shows how individuals can collaborate for the common good under spiritual guidance. Among the visible members, 7 brothers actively engage with the world, serving people and helping to raise collective awareness. On the other hand, 5 unseen members focus inwardly, providing teachings to those who are spiritually advanced enough to visit their temple in a spiritual form. They're like the hidden roots of a tree, providing stability and nourishment. Now, back to the initiation. Usually, we're used to associating initiation with secret rituals, esoteric knowledge, and exclusive societies. But in the context of the Rosicrucian Order, initiation has a deeper and more profound meaning. Being a Rosicrucian isn't about titles or knowledge. It's about your state of mind and how you interact with the world. It means living by the Order's values and working for the greater good. Initiation isn't the end goal, but a step in a lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery. The first initiation is a pivotal moment, transitioning you from focusing on the outer, visible world to exploring the inner, invisible realms. This isn't a physical trip, but a shift in consciousness, revealing new layers of perception and understanding. This inner world isn't separate from our physical reality. Rather, it's the underlying layer that shapes it. Learning to access this realm isn't a supernatural feat, but an untapped human potential, awakened through initiation. However, this first initiation is just the starting line. Like getting admitted to Order, it opens the doors to learning, but doesn't make you an expert. The real work, dedication, and effort begins afterward. So, are you ready to go on a deeper, inner journey that awakens you to the spiritual side of life, setting the stage for an ongoing adventure of self-discovery and growth? The Rosicrucian Order isn't just a myth or legend. It's a vital piece of the puzzle in understanding the roots of Western spirituality. The Rosicrucian Order has made a lasting impact far beyond its inner circle, affecting Western thought, spirituality, and even areas like science and art. Its teachings have served as a guide for personal and societal change, and its principles have resonated with many, even those not formally part of the Order. Think of it as a river of wisdom, enriching all who are open to its insights. Its influence has not only fueled individual spiritual growth, but also broader shifts in consciousness and society. Despite changing times, the Order remains vibrant, its teachings timeless. Its principles continue to offer hope and direction in a world that's increasingly complex. The lasting impact of the Rosicrucian Order speaks to the enduring power of spiritual wisdom and the human potential for growth and transformation. True Rosicrucianism calls for a soul-cleansing journey filled with compassion, wisdom, and a commitment to spiritual growth. Only when someone fully embraces these principles can they genuinely claim to walk the path of the Rosicrucians. There's only one path, and it's always been the same. The secrets of our world are hidden for a reason. They could overwhelm those who aren't ready for them. But if you're truly looking for answers and your intentions are good, you'll find what you're searching for. Nothing can stop someone who is genuinely seeking the truth. They wander in darkness seeking light, failing to realize that the light is in the heart of the darkness. Manly P. Hall. Now, do us a small favor. Hit the like button and subscribe. And for more secret knowledge, watch our related videos on the screen right now. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again.